Look at my head. I got burned like shit. Hello internet, welcome to Alex Universe. In this video I'm bringing you top 10-ish facts for every first-time traveler to Malta. I hope you will find it interesting, but before I begin, this is actually the conclusion of my trip to Malta. So if you're interested in more on the spot shots from the islands, go check my previous videos. I will leave you a link for the playlist in the upper right corner. In this video I will conclude the whole trip. I will give you some great tips that you may find handy if you travel to Malta for the first time. Before I begin, let me welcome here all my new subscribers. You are great. I am very grateful for your support, and if you haven't and you will like this video, please consider it in the end. Now let me show you my intro and let's go. Let me just give you first a short overview where to find Malta. It's located in southern Europe, just south of Italy and west of Tunisia. It's a very small archipelago of 3 main islands and some smaller islets in the Mediterranean Sea. Located in southern Europe, it's quite warm and, well, it's a great summer destination, but also a winter destination. More about that later. Its capital city is Valletta. When I say city, I'm really taking it with a grain of salt, because Valletta is actually this very small peninsula on Malta, and it's, I don't know, I believe it could have like 2 kilometers across, so very small city. Now let's go to the facts. Fact number 1, they drive on the left side. If you are not used to it, you may have a problem, especially if you want to go for renting a car. So as a former British colony or protectorate or whatever it was, they drive on the left side of the road. Most of the cars have right side driving, and well, it's something that you should be prepared for. Speaking of traffic, well, prepare for a lot of traffic jams because the streets are very narrow. There is basically like no highway in the whole of Malta unless we count this multiple lane road from the airport to Valletta. But otherwise, be prepared for very narrow, twisted little roads going all across the island. The island is actually quite small. I believe it's like 20 kilometers across from the southernmost to the northernmost point, but getting around is quite time consuming, so be prepared for it. First of all, there are the traffic jams, especially in summer when there are a lot of tourists. You may encounter a lot of cars on the roads, but even if there are not, you cannot like drive 20 kilometers an hour on these roads, because you will like end up somewhere off the cliff into the sea, so that's not a very useful thing. So regarding driving, prepare a lot of patience, get used to driving left and you will be okay. Travel tip number 2, they use the Type G British plug outlet. This is kind of an interesting thing, because if you are from anywhere else but the British Isles, or let's say Malaysia and Cyprus, you will need an adapter. Truth is, on my hotel room they had the basic Type C plug outlet, the European one, so if you are from Europe or basically anywhere from the civilized world, you will be able to use your plug outlet in most cases, but you cannot count on it, so bring your adapter with you. It will probably make your life a lot easier. The travel tip number 3 has something to do with how you can get to the island. You basically, well, it's an island, so you cannot drive there. You have basically 2 options. I will get rid of the ferry option very quickly because it's expensive. It's from Sicily, which is another island, which makes it a lot more complicated. And also, I don't think you want to bring your European car to Malta because, well, they drive on the left side, so it's kind of annoying. So your best option is to fly to Malta. There is only one international airport, well, only one airport in general in Malta, and that's Malta International Airport. There are many connections to the whole of Europe, but also Qatar and Emirates have some flights to the Middle East, and there are flights to Istanbul. So via these 3 airlines, Malta is connected to the rest of the world. If you want to get from the airport, your best option is to go by bus. There are several bus routes that go from the airport to Valletta. Basically every bus that goes to Valletta is of 2 digits. For example, from the airport there are the buses 71, 72 and 73 that go from the airport to the capital, and also the express line X4, which is the most convenient one because it takes only some 20 minutes. Again, based on the traffic. The 70-something buses are local buses that have a lot of stops on the way, so it takes longer. If you're traveling in the morning to the airport, you may not have another option, but it's still doable, because if you're traveling in the morning there are no traffic jams, so well, win-win. Well, your next option how to get from the airport are by the private transports. Many hotels offer them, and also if you go to some Viator or get your guide, you will find a lot of private transportations from and to the airport for as low as €10 for one-way road. And your next option is to go by taxi. Never go by the taxi that is located at the airport, because they're overpriced and, well, they're just giant yellow thieves and you don't want to support them. So either have your hotel to order your taxi, or you can use one of the basic apps. There is no Uber in Malta, but they can use Bolt. But also they have their own local taxi apps, and that's Ride with an Y and Cool. You can find the links for downloading these apps down in the comments below. They can be very useful. They also offer the possibility to order shared rides, which makes it even cheaper. The travel tip number 4 is use buses. Or not. The thing is, buses in Malta go everywhere. If you want to go anywhere on Malta, you will get there by a bus. The problem is, the buses are quite infrequent in some areas. Not if you want to go to Valletta. Basically everything goes to Valletta. Like I said, 2 digits to Valletta, and you have almost 90 numbers that are with 2 digits, so you can see how many buses you would find there. And not so many, but you know. But the buses are infrequent. If you want to travel to some important tourist destination and your point of origin is not Valletta, you may have a problem to get from one to another, because they are not well connected and you will have to transfer several times on the bus. The bus ticket is bought from the driver. It costs €2 and it is valid for 2 hours, so you will be able to get around with one ticket even if you transfer the buses, but it's inconvenient and sometimes it takes a lot of time. If you want to know more about the public transportation, I have made a separate video about it. You can see it in the upper right corner. Go check it out. It will probably save you a lot of money. Your alternative way how to get around is this hop on hop off bus, but I managed to do the southern line of the hop on hop off bus. Again, you can see now the link in the upper right corner, and while the bus costs some €20, this one, when I made it by the public transportation, I basically managed to visit all of the places that you would be able to visit riding the hop on hop off bus, and it cost me only €8. And you can go as low as €6, which is kind of a big difference. So learn how to use the public transportation, not so difficult, and if you have Google Maps, it's very useful. So travel tip number 5, ferries. As I've mentioned, Malta is not only the Malta island, although it consists the majority of the country. There are 2 other inhabited islands, Gozo and Comino, that can be accessed by ferry. Speaking of ferries, there are also many ferry transportation within the Malta island, especially around Valletta. You can go on a ferry from Valletta to the south to the so-called 3 cities, and also to the north to the city of Sliema, which is one of the main tourist hubs in Malta, where you can find a lot of restaurants, bars, accommodations. If you don't want to live directly in Valletta, this may be an interesting option. If you want to go to Gozo, which is the island north of the Malta island and the second largest island in the archipelago, you will need to use the ferry from Chirkewa to Magar, and this one takes some half an hour, and the return ticket costs almost €5 for 65 euro, I think, and it's not part of the general public transportation, so your bus ticket will not be valid on this ferry. And also, once you get to Gozo, you will need to buy another ticket for the bus, because your bus ticket from the Malta island is not valid there. Speaking of Camino, there are only some four real residents living there, so you will not find many settlements there. Why you go to the Gozo is the nature. One of the main tourist attractions in Malta, the Blue Lagoon, and the less famous Crystal Lagoon, are located on this island. They're really stunning, although from what I heard they tend to be really overcrowded in summer, but I was there this summer and it really wasn't, but let's say people don't travel that much this year, so I guess I got lucky. But if you come there in summer, be prepared for a lot of people. But to my experience, the crystal clear water of the Blue Lagoon is really amazing. The ferry going to Gozo goes every 45 minutes or so in summer and a little less frequently in winter, but it's still going quite often. The ferries to Camino are very infrequent. You will probably need to arrange a transportation in advance. My travel tip number 6 is very important. Don't go to Malta on Sunday. Malta is a very religious country, at least they pretend to be. They have 365 churches across the island, which is smaller than Manhattan, and well, they do like to show their religiosity, which means that Sundays are closed. And when I say closed, it's not only regarding the main large supermarkets like in most of the civilized world, but basically everything is closed. I was in Malta. I arrived on Saturday evening, and then I had to spend the whole of Sunday in Valletta, and I didn't know that everything would be closed, and I had even problem to buy water. So plan ahead, and if you want to be there on Sunday, prepare something natural to go around, because otherwise you won't be able to buy much. Well, saying that, the smaller shops and some petrol stations are actually allowed to be open, but you will not find any such thing in Valletta, so better be elsewhere. I found one little shop in Rabat, so I got saved. Which brings me to the travel tip number 7, and that is the tap water. I would say that the tap water is generally drinkable. I drank it because I didn't have any other choice. But when you look at Malta, it doesn't have any natural freshwater reservoirs. So that means that all of the water is either imported, which is quite expensive, and that's usually only valid for the bottled water. Or regarding tap water, it's created in these desalination plants on the coast from the salt water, which kind of means that while it is drinkable and it will probably not kill you, it didn't kill me, and you will not shit yourself in most cases, it's not very tasty. You can still taste the thing in the back of your mouth, not very pleasant thing. But the worst case scenario, you are able to drink it. I would just not recommend it. My travel tip number 8 is regarding when to visit Malta. Well, like I said, summers tend to be a little overcrowded, and when I say little, Malta is very small, so if there is not so large amount of people, it still gets overcrowded. One of the main tourist attractions in Malta, the Hypergym, is actually as overcrowded that you usually need to book several months in advance if you want to go there. That's insane. It has other reasons, like they are allowing only like some 30 people a day to go there, so that kind of, that's another option. But it really gives you a great idea of how overcrowded Malta tends to be in summer. Even today, when I was there, during the pandemic, Valletta was so full of people, especially during the weekend nights. It's so overcrowded. If you want to go there during summer, prepare for a lot of people. Also, it's located in Southern Europe, really on the same altitude as Tunisia or even Egypt. So, really, consider if you really want to spend your whole day in the sun and in the scorching heat of the Malta Islands. I was there and I can say, like, look at my head, it got burned like shit. So if you want to go there in summer, prepare for a lot of heat, get your sunscreen, it will be a lifesaver. Also, don't forget, you cannot buy water on Monday. Also, don't forget, you won't be able to buy water on Sunday, so you'll probably die of thirst. Saying that, you may think, okay, let's go there in winter because people go to Tunisia or to Egypt in winter, it's a lot better. Well, the weather is good. It doesn't rain that much, and the heat is a lot better. Well, there's almost no heat. The thing is, the nights tend to be quite cold, and saying that, the thing is, as it is located almost in Africa, it kind of lacks on heating. So there are air conditioning that can provide heating, but you will probably freeze to death overnight. So if you go there in winter, it's survivable, but will be also not very comfortable. Which leaves us with spring and autumn, which I think are the best times of the year where you can visit Malta. It's great, it's still warm, you can probably get into the water, it's not overheated, and there are not so many people. Although, if many people start thinking like this, it will be overcrowded, even in spring and autumn. My travel tip number 10 is, you don't need to learn Maltese. Thanks God. That language is, it's a Semitic language, really similar in a way to Maghrebi Arabic, but it's written in Latin alphabet, and that kind of leaves it with a lot of problems. The Latin alphabet is not made for this language, so once you see something that's written, it's pronounced completely differently, and getting around is kind of difficult if you don't know how to pronounce it, so you'll probably have to write it somewhere, so keep it in mind. But the good thing about Malta is that most of the people speak fluently English, which makes communication with them a lot easier. So you don't need to learn Maltese, although learning a few words might be nice. On the other hand, you will probably offend half of Malta if you try to pronounce their words, so I don't know, it's like 50-50. And in the end, one last extra bonus travel tip: try local cuisine. I will give you a tip for one dish and 2 drinks that you could try if you go to Malta. Again, if you want to see how I try them, go watch my video in the upper right corner, but let me just tell you, go try pastizi. It's like this very unhealthy pastry that they sell that's filled with peas or ricotta cheese, and it's very tasty, it's very good. It's very good for hangover, but also it's kind of a cheap option if you want to go for lunch. One other thing that you need to try is kini. That's their soft drink. They're very proud of it. They're very proud even of their beer, which will be my next point. But this one, people say that you either love it or you hate it. I'm kind of an exception because I didn't even love it, didn't hate it. I wouldn't mind, I just don't like too sugary things, but you know, if you drink cola, you can be okay. This probably is not as unhealthy as it, so go try it. And the last point is the local beer called Chisk. They're also very proud of it. They say it's good beer. It's not, but after a few days you get used to it. And it also comes in many varieties, so if you don't like the yellow one, there are some other ones that you can try. Overall, Malta is a very interesting and really cool country. I really enjoyed my first night in Valletta. It had such a great atmosphere. I really loved it there. If you tend to go to Malta, I hope that these tips will give you some insight what to be prepared for. And if you have been to Malta, let me know how you enjoyed it, what you liked, what you didn't like. If you haven't been to Malta and you intend to, let me know what you would like to know. I will try to respond to you in the comments and possibly give you some more tips in the span of existence of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Go check the previous videos in this series. If you enjoy my content, subscribe to my channel, ring the notification bell, which will give you a notification every time I post a new video so that you don't miss any. And well, check out my other social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and well, see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.